Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Ayo Boxing with Madiba, and we're here to talk about why Jaron boots Ennis versus Roiman Villa is an important fight for boxing. So, news just broke that Jaron Ennis will be fighting Roiman the Villain Villa on July 8th in Atlantic City, and this is a good ass fight. I might buy tickets and go since I predicted this fight will happen, but truth be told, a lot of people predicted that this fight was going to happen next because Ennis is the interim IBF 147 champion and Roiman Villa won the IBF Eliminator after beating Rashidi Ellis. I thought that this fight was going to be on the undercard of Spence vs Crawford, but it makes perfect sense for Ennis to headline this fight in Atlantic City, which is not too far from his hometown of Philadelphia. But the reason why I believe this fight is important to boxing is because this fight will be the first fight to usher in a new era at welterweight. For the past several years, the welterweight division has been stagnant. The journey and struggle to make Errol Spence vs Terence Crawford is what held up the division for so long. Because of this, there wasn't a lot of fights being made at 147 since everyone was waiting for their shot at the belts. Furthermore, 147 has been ruled by the older generation of boxers: Spence, Crawford, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Yordenis Ugas, Kell Brook, Manny Pacquiao, and more. All those guys are in their 30s except for Manny Pacquiao, and many of those guys are inactive and several have retired. Because of this, the welterweight division does not get the same attention that it used to get 10 years ago. The most popular division in boxing right now is lightweight, and this is due to the fact that many young boxers fight at lightweight. Young boxers are more active, more likely to take risks, and we get to see them progress through the years. Because of this, fans are more engaged to these fighters and pay more attention to the divisions that have many young, new fighters. This hasn't been the case for welterweight since like 2015, but Spence vs Crawford is going to change that because that fight has a bidirectional rematch clause that the loser can trigger within 30 days after the fight, and the rematch must take place before the end of 2023. And this rematch is expected to happen at 154, according to sources from ESPN. Therefore, all of the belts at welterweight will be vacated and up for grabs this year, which means you're going to have a lot of new, young champions and interesting matchups by the end of 2023. So this means that Jaron Ennis versus Roiman Villa is essentially a fight for the vacant IBF belt, which is why this fight is so important to boxing. The winner will be the first young face to take center stage at 147. But let's also take a look at the other belt organizations to see the next potential champions at welterweight. For the WBA, the winner of Vergil Ortiz versus Amanda Stanionis will most likely elevate the winner to full championship status since they're fighting for the regular WBA belt. For the WBO, Alexis Roca is ranked number 1, therefore he'll be fighting someone for the vacant title. A rematch with Rashidi Ellis or Blair Cobbs could happen since both are ranked in the WBO, but I have a gut feeling that Josh Taylor will move up to 147. He's currently the WBO champion at 140, therefore he has the right to immediately fight for the WBO title at 147. Win or lose to Teofimo Lopez, I think he'll move up and challenge for that belt. And for the WBC, that's going to be a bit more complicated. Keith Thurman is ranked number 1 in the WBC, despite being inactive for more than a year, but Cody Crowley just won a WBC Eliminator against Abel Ramos. So one would assume it would be Cody Crowley versus Keith Thurman. However, the WBC ordered Mario Barrios to fight Yordenis Ugas for the interim WBC belt. This fight hasn't been announced yet, but this causes a conflict on who fights for the WBC vacant belt. Maybe the WBC will do a 4-man tournament for the vacant belt, but I don't know. Regardless, all those fights will bring attention and life back to welterweight since we'll have new players to watch and follow. I predict we'll get a unification fight by next year. Assuming that all of the favorites win the respective vacant titles, I predict a unification fight between Vergil Ortiz and Alexis Roca, and a unification fight between Jaron Ennis and either Cody Crowley or Mario Barrios, and then an undisputed fight between Jaron Ennis and Vergil Ortiz in late 2024 or 2025, with Jaron Ennis being crowned as the new undisputed champion at welterweight. But who knows, this is boxing. Anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with Ayo Boxing with Madiba. Hit like and subscribe, and more content coming your way.